Hey guys, welcome to the garden for our week 3 full garden tour. It is the very beginning of a heat wave here in South Central Indiana, Zone 6A. And so it is a little bit later in the evening than normal when I would shoot these, but that is because I'm trying to not be out during the heat. So it is super humid here. So if you see a little softness on the lens, it's because of the humidity. So I'm trying to keep it wiped so you can see what I'm talking about, but we're gonna get started with this week 3 garden tour. Everything out here is absolutely exploding with growth, and it is so exciting, and I can't wait to show it to you. So let's get started. Just inside the gate here, we have a zinnia that is about to open. Very exciting. The beans are doing great, the pole beans. This whole row is the purple potted, and the ones I replanted are starting to come up. This one is starting to get pretty tall. It needs to be kind of trained. So these are all coming up, which is exciting. The ones over here, we have Kentucky Wonder and Rattlesnake, and they are also starting to come up on my replant here, looking wonderful. We have another zinnia here. This nasturtium here is covered in blooms, and the cherry tomatoes are huge. They look great. Actually, I think all of them have fruit set on them now. I put this tarp down to kill the grass underneath here, so yes, that's why it looks like this. The bush beans I planted, companion planted with my cherry tomatoes, have pretty much all come up now, which is exciting. So for my cherry tomatoes, I have 8 plants this year, and the varieties are black cherry on these 2. This one I actually, I topped it. So you can kind of see back there, there's a scab. And so I'm kind of letting one of the side shoots become like the new top. So these 2 are black cherry. This one is sun gold. It has some nice sized tomatoes on it. This one is a Salisaw Cafe. Ooh, look at this zinnia. About to open, very exciting. This one is a Blonde Girl Cherry. This is one that blooms and grows fruit in like these clusters. And then we have Blueberries Cherry, and then Aunt Ruby's Yellow, and Isis Candy. So I think all of these have fruit set at this point, which is exciting. So let's go over here into my squash and melon patch. And I gave everybody some more space, gave everybody some compost and some mulch this last week, and thinned them down to 1 plant, and they're really starting to look great. They're growing slower than I thought they would, but I think it's just because they were crowded out by this stuff for so long. So we have a Crimson Sweet Watermelon. Down here we have some Hales Jumbo Cantaloupes. Over here we have some Honey Nut Squash. And up here we have some Delicata Squash. So those are all starting to set some new leaves, which is exciting. Now over here in the raised beds, the sweet potatoes are starting to vine, which is very exciting. They've really started to take off the last few days with the heat. They love the warm weather. And then I have some other radishes that are going to seed that I'm gonna leave and let them do their thing. The potato bed is looking wonderful. The potatoes have been bloomed for a couple weeks. The blooms are starting to die back a little, and the plants are starting to yellow. So basically when your tomatoes, listen to me, when your potato plants flower, that means they are working on the potatoes themselves. once they flower, they'll start to die back a little, and you're gonna be like, oh no, they're dying back, but that's what they're going to do. And then at that point, you can start harvesting them. You can actually start harvesting them earlier, like after they flower, but to get the biggest potatoes and the biggest harvest, you wanna wait until the plants have pretty much died back. I did see one last night in here. One potato had kind of gotten up to the top of the soil, and so I just covered it back up. But these are doing great. I'm really happy with them, and I think it won't be much longer until I'm harvesting these. Now, next is the onions, and if you saw my onion top pesto video, I'll link that up in the corner. I did cut a lot of the tops off of these, but I do still have a lot of tops left. I didn't cut anything off of anything in this half of the bed. So some of them are looking a little bit thin, and that's because I cut a lot of the tops off, but some of them are still, you know, I still have plenty of tops to make more pesto with. They are really starting to bulb. This one in particular is getting really big, and that makes me really excited. So I'm hoping that, and honestly, at this point, I could come out here and start harvesting these, like if I needed one to make dinner with or whatever. So that makes me very happy. This is the best onion year that I have ever had, ever. They are really looking great. I got these onion sets from Gurney's, and I think they're called Candy Slicer or something like that. I don't know. But they are really bulbing, and I'm fighting the weeds in here, but they're still doing a pretty good job bulbing. So that makes me very excited. Now in this next bed, I have some shallots up here that are looking great. These are, I mean, I could harvest them kind of whenever I wanted them, but I'm gonna leave them for now. I have carrots over here that are starting to look like something, which is exciting. And I have some celery in here and some leeks. My asparagus crowns are also in here, but they have not quite done anything yet, which is fine. They haven't been in the ground that long. These poppies over here are crazy beautiful. And I'm so glad I planted these because I love them so much. Then in front of the greenhouse, I have a zinnia that I actually topped, and so it is branching out and looking beautiful. Now my sunflowers over here are starting to bloom, and I don't really know why because they're not that tall. I think this is the Lemon Queen, but I'm not quite sure. But if you look down here, you can see there's more Lemon Queens down there that have bloomed. So I'm not real sure why these aren't getting super tall, but they are still growing, but I'm just confused as to why these have bloomed. So anyway, we'll go back over here to these tomatoes. All of these tomatoes have been mulched, and they've gotten another dose of compost, and these are starting to set some flowers here. Now, I am worried because it's going to be so hot this week that these are going to lose their flowers, but it'll cool back down and they'll be fine. This is an Aussie. This is a Kellogg's Breakfast. Again, setting some flowers. And then I have my 2 Firebirds and another Aussie. I don't think these have set any flowers yet necessarily, but they really have started to look good after I gave them some compost. So that's awesome. Now over here on this arch, I do have a zinnia open. Oh wow, look at that. This is from a mix called Candy Stripe, I think. Candy Stripe Yellow, and that is absolutely beautiful. I love it. And then I also have a Mexican Red Torch sunflower here, and just a variety of beans. This is Marvel of Venice. I have a Sunset Runner, and then I have some Scarlet Runner over here, and then some rattlesnakes as well. The basil over here is being overrun, but it really looks great. I have harvested off of these a few times now, and they are getting bigger every day. The tomatoes on the A-frame are looking much better. They're setting flowers, which makes me very happy. The leaves are starting to not be so curly and starting to look like normal tomato plants again, so that's good. These varieties are White Tomasol, Paul Robeson, and Chianti Rose. The strawberry barrels over here are done for the season. So the tomatoes over here in this area, make sure I don't step on any basil. This one is a carbon, and it is really setting some fruit here. This probably needs to be tied up. It's a little wonky. And then I don't know what this is. It lost its label. It's laying here in the grass, but the label part isn't here. So this is a Kellogg's breakfast. Yes, okay. I remember what this is. So it's setting some flowers. And then I have two San Marzanos here, also setting flowers. What are you? You are an Aunt Ruby's German Green, and it is also setting some fruit. Looks like it needs to be tied up. I have two more Aunt Ruby's German Greens, and then down here, a triple crop, again setting some flowers. Very exciting. Now over here on the long panel, I came through and weed eated last night as much as I could before this heat, and it looks a mess, but it's fine. These are two Abe Lincolns. Again, they look pretty good. This one has a couple tomatoes on it. And then we have two Amana Orange, and this one is a monster, setting some fruit. And then I have two Delicious, which this one has a few tomatoes on it. Oh, a pretty big one down here. And then I have two Orange Kentucky Beefsteak down here at the end, and they are setting tons of flowers as well. Now, over here in this corner, I have some chard and some kale, which looks pretty good still. I may try and come out in the morning and harvest a bunch of this, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens between now and tomorrow morning. So we're gonna turn and we're gonna go back down this way over to our little seating area. The dill I have planted right here, looking great. Very happy with this. I'd like to get some more planted in this area, but I gotta clear all this grass out first. Over here we have our cucamelons, and look at these. Look at these. They are really starting to vine, and they're climbing by themselves. The strawberries in this bed are done for the season as well. The lettuces and things are hanging in there. I may come out and try and harvest some of this in the morning before it gets too hot. The arugula that's bolted is starting to dry a little, so we're getting closer to seed saving time for that. And the kale in here looks pretty good too. So let's go look at the cucumbers, because they look really great. They are really starting to take off. This one is Chinese snake, and it is sending out its little tendril. This one is a variety called Salt and Pepper, which is a new variety for me this year. Very excited about that one. And then over here I have Green Dragon Burpless, which is looking very nice. And Muncher, which is like a smaller kind of snack size cucumber. So these all look great. I did finally thin them and came through, cleared the grass out, mulched, and they've really started to grow pretty quickly over the last, I don't know, 5-6 days, which is very exciting. And last but not least, we have our peppers, eggplants, and ground cherries. So the eggplants here are looking I don't know, I think they look fine. They have a lot of like flea beetle damage, which I'm assuming is what this is. I know that flea beetles love eggplants, so I'm not very concerned. They're still growing and setting new leaves, so that leads me to believe that they're gonna be just fine. The peppers over here are looking pretty good. I'm really happy with the way these plants look this year. Very short and squatty and very full of leaves, blooms, and look at that. It's my glow pepper. Getting pretty big. And I saw a couple others. There's a jalapeno back there. And I don't know if I've seen anything else or not, but peppers always come on later for me anyway. So these plants look great and I'm happy with them. And then the ground cherries. These are, I don't know, I mean, they look good to me. They're covered in the little pods that the ground cherries grow in. So that's good, I guess. Never grown these before, but really excited to see how they do. The plants are soft, which I didn't expect. So yes, very interesting. Very excited about these. So our week 3 garden tour is finished. That was the garden as of what it looks like right now. I am going to be watching it closely the next few days to make sure I keep up with watering if I need to. It has rained quite a lot here in the last couple weeks, and so I'm not super concerned about having to water every single day. The heat index here today was 103, and it was not even the hottest day this week. So I'm just gonna keep an eye on things, come out here in the evenings after the sun goes down. Right now it is 7:30 and it's very overcast and kind of breezy. It's 82 out right now. It actually feels better than it has all day right now. So everything out here looks good. It is supposed to rain this evening. We're having some spotty showers kind of pop up because of the heat and the humidity. So hopefully the garden gets one more little drink before it gets really super duper hot here over the next few days. If you are experiencing severe heat in your garden this week, just keep an eye on things. Water at the roots, at the dirt. Do not water your leaves, and you should be able to get through it. Any type of like coal crop you have, if you have shade cloth, or even, I've even used landscape fabric, like the woven stuff, that works well also. So you might think about rigging something up to give them some more shade and cool them off a little bit if you're trying to keep those going longer into the season. So anyway, I hope everyone is staying cool this week if it is hot where you are. I don't know that I will have a ton of other videos to shoot this week just because of the heat. We do have a heat advisory for the next 3 days here. So we're just gonna play it by ear and see what happens. So thank you so much for joining me on our week 3 full garden tour. I love doing these and I love watching the garden grow with you every week. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.